78. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 79 and mostly sunny. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida is thrilled to introduce the newest rock stars to the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber. Condor Tours and Travel, Fitway Recovery, Lighthouse Church, Piano by Grace, Rish Home Watch Services, San Marcos Mexican Grill Callaway, Sweet Henrietta's Bakery, and True by Hilton Panama City Beach.
We're here to champion your success and connect you with this amazing community.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm ready. Let me just grab my bag. Sweatpants, huh? Didn't know we were keeping it casual this month. Yeah, I feel bloated every now and then.
You have to try New Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies. They have prebiotics to nourish good bacteria, probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating, and postbiotics for immune support.
All that in one gummy?
Yep. So no sweatpants next time?
Not anymore.
Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies for gut health support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios. It's the Inside Drive. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
Ruby, first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome in to the Golf Plus studios here at ESPN Northwest Florida. You are listening to the Inside Drive. Brian Haddad sitting in for Ryan Mulvey today. It's kind of becoming like a Thursday opening round tradition here, me being on the mic, so unfortunately.
I like that, though. You know, Thursday opening round, Brian Haddad hosting the Inside Drive.
That's right. You bring out the guy to shank it, you know, first off the tee, and then Ryan comes in and finishes it up, you know, so... but no, absolutely love sitting in on this show, and Ryan will be back with us. He just had a meeting he had to do today, so no issues there. Looking forward to getting Ryan back on the show, but David Hayes and I are going to hold down the fort today, and we've got all kind of great news for you today. A lot of stuff going on locally was a lot of news locally yesterday, which you would expect as spring sports are starting to wind down.
Right.
And, spring football, and things like that. There's a lot going on. Obviously, ton of news on the college front and professionally as well. As it's quite a busy time of year for sports here as we're kind of getting into the NBA playoffs and baseball's, about, I don't know, what are we, about 3 weeks in at this point?
Baseball?
Yeah, about 3 weeks, maybe.
I guess so, because it would be April 27th. That would make a full month.
Coming off of the Masters, which obviously we've, I'm sure, talked about all week. Last week, we were here for the opening round talking about that. What an exciting Masters it was. So definitely a lot to get into today. We would certainly love to hear from you as well. You can give us a call in studio there at 850-215-6290. That is 215-6290. And don't forget, we have 2 more days of this. Your chance to win tickets to the Jack Links 500. In fact, a whole weekend of events here at Talladega Raceway. You can catch some great racing there. But at 12:40, we're going to announce a name of our potential winner today. And when you hear your name called out, you need to call into the studio at 215-6290. How fast you call in will be your race time, and then we'll have to determine whether or not that wins you the overall trip. But every winner will get a prize package as well. So we're going to be talking about that more through the morning. But don't forget, 1240, make sure you're listening. If you texted in the phrase from this morning's Coach Hale show, make sure and be listening and be right by that phone with the fingers ready to hit that number so that you can try and earn it your way to Talladega. We got Braves on the radio coming back tomorrow. Had a couple of days off from the Bravos there, who are no longer in the basement. Thank you very much. They're in the division, they are.
Yeah.
But we passed the Rockies, baby.
Oh, my goodness. I love silver linings, and I'm so glad that you brought that to my attention today, Coach Brian.
Look, as growing up in Alabama, I remember being in school, and I wasn't smart enough for this, but I had friends who, they would go to that youth legislature thing every year at state capitol, and one year our designation won for the greatest piece of legislation, and that piece of legislation was to change the Alabama state motto to Thank God for Mississippi. So I say thank God for the Colorado Rockies here as Braves fans. So, but we're definitely going to get into more talk on Major League Baseball later, but we do have the Braves right here on ESPN Northwest Florida tomorrow night, right after the afternoon underdogs, going to pick up at 6 p.m. first pitch at 6:15 as the Minnesota Twins. We've got the Twins at Truist Park. So they're coming
we're going
to
back
Truist.
home. Going back
That's
home
right.
from the 51st state right back to Atlanta.
There we go. So that'll be tomorrow night, right after the afternoon underdogs. Keep your dial right there. Well, let's get into some news headlines from around the sports world. And David, I think this is a day we all knew was coming. And quite frankly, I think a lot of us begrudgingly knew it needed to happen. But ESPN has announced that Lee Corso will retire from ESPN's College Game Day this August, ending a career with that show that began way back in 1987. Go on and say it, Dave.
I'm actually on the opposite side of the fence when it comes to Lee Corso, just because I was
going to say, go on and say that you weren't born in 1987.
Oh, yeah, facts. 100%. I was not born in 1987. But I think there's been so many people complaining about it, and I hate it because the fact is he's a trailblazer for ESPN when it comes to College Game Day. He's, is he in the best shape of his life? No, absolutely not. Is he in the best shape of his life mentally? No, absolutely not. But at the end of the day, it's not ESPN saying we need Lee Corso there. That's not what it is. It's Lee Corso wanting to be there. So I have no issue with it because I think when someone has done so much for a company, which just doesn't happen in real life, when you think about it, but when someone has done so much for a company, if they want to ride out into the sunset on their own terms, then let them ride out that way. And a lot of people have been complaining the last couple of years, like, whatever about Lee Corso. And it's not even necessarily about Lee Corso. Like, I can't believe ESPN's allowing him or whatever. Like, it means a lot to him.
Yeah.
So let him have that. What if he doesn't, and I don't know what the case is, but what if he doesn't remember other things, and then he comes on set and it's like, bam, there's there's
moments.
Yeah, like a connection that's made.
Sure.
Hey, let the man do it until he's done doing it. But August 30th will be our last time seeing Lee Corso donning the
headgear.
The headgear. Yeah.
Look, don't let the big letters behind my head fool you. I've been critical, certainly at times, about things. I do like the fact that ESPN allowed Lee to make the decision, because that is rare in television and media in general. And there have been calls for it. I personally, I would get a little uncomfortable at times, because I just felt like it wasn't so much for me. It was, I didn't want him to then look back at his performance. Like, in television specifically, because it's so visual, but also in radio and things, a lot of talent goes back and listens to themselves or watches themselves and critiques, usually their worst critic. And what I always worried about was Lee going back and watching, maybe it didn't seem that way to him on air, but he was really fumbling with words or struggling or was slow on the pickup or things. And I never wanted him to be upset at, kind of watching his own decline, if you will. I do like that it was up to him to make the decision, but sometimes, it got painful the last couple of years. Not every time. Sometimes it was a wonderful, positive experience to see how good he was doing. But again, it got to the point where I was starting to get a little worried for his well-being on a couple of occasions, and you never want to remember, people that you love in that setting like that. I kind of felt a little of the same way when Dickie V came back this year. There was one game where his voice really struggled, and it just, I don't know, maybe it's selfish, ultimately, that you want the old Dickie V back, you want the old Lee Corso back, and that's not realistic. But I don't know, I got a little bit worried that the decline was a little too evident, and I didn't want it to get worse. I guess was my point.
Right, but for me, I would understand that if Lee Corso was still holding on to like a main portion of the show.
Sure.
And they were making him stumble through things just so that he could be on the show. But no, they didn't. They added the greatest coach of all time in Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They've added Pat McAfee. They've done so many changes to that show that it's like Lee Corso's there for basically the mascot and for his own self-fulfillment.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Dickie V, which I love Dick Vitale. He used to be a season ticket holder at the Tampa Bay Rays. When I lived down there, I had a Highland Park baseball all-star hat on and was walking through an aisle, saw Dick Vitale, and he signed my hat for me. So he's always going to be a big influence in my life in that sense. It's a little bit different when we're talking about a show that has so many voices compared to a basketball broadcast that has a play-by-play and then a color commentator. If they wanted to ease the difference between the people who are like you, like, this is kind of starting to sound like a train wreck, and then people who's like, I don't really care in what capacity Dick Vitale's speaking, I just want to hear Dick Vitale, then add a second person, add the color commentator, and then have Dick Vitale just kind of adding third person, not third person, but, the third person on the broadcast.
And that would be hard. He's such a dynamic personality. It's always hard to fill in that. I thought it was really touching and kind of genuine. If you really go back and watch, specifically this last year, but maybe the last two, you could tell how kind of protective Kirk Herbstreit was of Corso right next to him. Like, you could almost sense if something was going awry, he'd kind of reach over and kind of put his hand on him, or a couple of times when he might be struggling with headgear or something like that. It was really touching to watch. He was very very protective of him. So so I've got some questions as it relates to this, and if you've got the story pulled up, you're cheating. And I don't think you do. But
I don't.
Good.
I'm working on this show for this afternoon.
Very good. So how many teams in the history of College Game Day has Lee Corso donned the headgear of in his picks?
All right. So first, to see how close we can get my guess to, I'm going to say under 77.
Under.
Mm-hmm. I'll say 68.
That was really close. he has donned the headgear of 69 teams.
I wanted to say 69 so bad,
So
but
that
I
was
was just
pretty
trying to be respectful by saying 68.
All right, so of those 69 teams,
Ohio State, how many times?
the top 5 selections.
let me guess
All
this.
right, here we go. You're on the clock.
All right, Alabama.
Alabama is in the top 5. Number 2 on the list.
All right, let's go Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is not on the
Not
list.
on the top 5. Okay, all right. So let's go, Georgia. Ohio State.
Ohio State is number 1.
Gotta be there. Michigan.
Not on the list.
Not on the list. All right.
Again, just top 5.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
so I don't know how far down they are.
Let's go with, all right, so we got Alabama.
I'll give you this. So
USC.
USC is not on the list.
Not on the list either.
I will give you this.
Okay.
Of the remaining 3 schools, 2 are from the SEC and 1 is in the Big Ten.
All right, Indiana because.
No.
Okay.
And I'll give you a cheat. 1 is newly
in the Big Ten. And I already said USC.
You did.
So it can't be UCLA.
Who has
we're not talking about. No, I know where we're going.
Great headgear.
Oregon. Wait, yeah, obviously Oregon.
Oregon is number
because
5.
If it ain't USC, it's dang sure not UCLA. Just because you got Nico yesterday don't mean nothing. So yeah,
may not
I would
be
go.
done.
I would go Oregon. All right, so
we have
we got
2
Ohio
SEC
State,
schools
Alabama,
left.
Oregon. Then we'll go with LSU.
LSU is number 3 on the list.
Number 3 on
They
the
are
list.
also the reason they had to put up a screen between the fans and game day for years, because he picked Alabama in Baton Rouge one year and they threw everything at him.
Let me ask you this. This final SEC team, are they new to the SEC?
They are not.
Oh, okay. Florida.
The Gators.
Yeah, I was
That is correct.
it's not Georgia because Georgia's just found their success, so there's no way that's true. But Florida, then I'm like, thinking
That's
about
right.
the timeline, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of have to do. So in 5th place, Oregon, 21 times. 4th place was Florida with 22. In 3rd place, LSU, 25 times. In 2nd place, Alabama. That's why Coach Hale didn't read this out, because they weren't number 1. They were number 2. 38 times he has donned the elephant head. And in number 1, he has put on the Buckeye head 45 times. So pretty amazing. Another really interesting note here on Lee Corso that I was not aware of. So in the off season, and you would see this a lot of times in most of his segments, Lee Corso would hold a number 2 pencil. And a lot of people, thought that was odd. A lot of people don't use pencils, or they use the mechanical ones or whatever like that. Well, there was a reason for that. In the off season, Lee Corso was actually the director of business development for Dixon Ticonderoga, which, if you remember your old test that you had to take with your number 2 pencils, you'd see it. They are very famous for making yellow number 2 pencils. So you learn something new every day. So Lee Corso, director of sales or business development for Dixon Ticonderoga, number 2 pencils. See?
Wait, you got to say that again.
I know you were on the phone.
Barnes,
so in the off season, the reason, Lee Corso often held a number 2 pencil in his hand in segments. And the reason being, in the offseason, he was actually the director of sales development or business development for Dixon Ticonderoga, who makes number 2 pencils.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
I remember those for the old.
That's what we were saying. That's right. All those tests I had to keep taking over and over and over. No, that's right.
Nah, that was like Christmas every time we took one of those. Not because of anything about the timeline or anything, just because I was Christmas tree. I'll pixie.
Yeah, so that one was, look, it's going to be, I think we will get him for, that opening weekend.
Yeah. It'll be basically week 0.
Which will be nice that we'll get kind of a send-off. I think that's important for us.
I do. No, I totally agree. Again, man, it goes back to who knows what he's actually dealing with, and it's going to be a very special broadcast. In College Game Day, again, you can say whatever you want about Lee Corso, but the additions of what they've brought in with Nick Saban and Pat McAfee and, the stalwarts that you have in Reese Davis, who almost went to Fox, by the way. Not a lot of people have been talking about that, but he signed a multi-million-dollar deal with ESPN. Desmond Howard is fantastic. And then Kirk Herbstreit, that group together right there meshes so well. But my question
Who
would
did
be,
it start with? Fowler?
Chris Fowler.
Yeah, Fowler was first, yeah.
Because that was, my man, back in the day, why I ever wanted to do anything like this because of VHS tapes.
Yes, I remember what those
Sports
are.
bloopers. Sports bloopers.
Okay.
And it would be Chris Berman, Chris Fowler, kind of oh my goodness. Whew. That's why I wanted to do this right here. Well, we're outside of my dad listening to sports radio every single day. If it wasn't preaching on the radio, it was daggone sports radio.
They're both the same thing, half the time.
To an extent, yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Here's an interesting one I want to throw out there. Let me find it to pull it up. So, former PGA Tour winner Wes Bryan won the RBC Heritage back in 2017. He's only made 3 starts on the tour this year, only 130 starts in his career. I say only like that's some terrible accomplishment. I mean, good Lord, he's on the PGA Tour. But he's actually been suspended from the PGA Tour for his participation in a recent Live Golf influencer event.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about this, but kind of just a headline grabber.
All right, so you may have to help me out on this stuff.
Well, I haven't read it.
No.
Okay.
Just the whole... I heard Bryson DeChambeau talking a little bit about it, about some of the stuff he does with YouTube Golf. I was not really aware this was a thing. That apparently this whole influencer golf thing and this YouTube Golf is like this big deal. I mean, apparently, so what happened was he goes and does this channel with his brother George Bryan, and they're doing tour things, but he has his 550,000 followers apparently watching this. So then he did one of the PGA Tour golf influencers events, and then he did one with a Live Golf influencer called The Duels. And he actually won the event. He was teamed up with Sergio Garcia. They won in a playoff. So apparently, the PGA Tour said, no, enough of that. They certainly suspend guys for playing live events, and I think they have to sit a year. And, it was a little bit out in the open of, look, he's not actually a full-time member of the tour. But ironically enough, the way the story made news, I need to get the guy's name here, but... I don't know that they necessarily knew, but Grant Horvat, who has played tour events before.
I mean, what a prominent name.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's actually, I actually knew his name, but he was the one who kind of announced like the winner and all like that on it. So Grant Horvat has been involved in these things before, but he has no status at all currently on the PGA Tour. However, Grant Horvat just got a sponsor's exemption invitation to play a PGA Tour event.
Yeah.
So Grant, who's a part of these things and actually announced the whole deal with Wes Bryan, gets an invite because it's not through the tour, it's through a sponsor. And then Wes Bryan can't play. The whole thing is convoluted, and it's just another reason why we got to figure this thing out, guys.
It's clubhouse drama. Yeah, if you will. Like, oh, I play at Bay Point. Well, I play at the Panama Country Club. Like, all right, I don't care. Like, where's the cheapest green fees at dadgummit, I think it's, dramatic at this point. The whole thing, I mean, we've been so close to having a merger, but yet so far away. Told we're close, but the reality is that we're far away. Yeah. And I think all of us, if we're a fan like myself, who's like, I'll watch the majors, I'll watch if I have nothing else to watch on Sunday. I love watching golf because it's one of the greatest nap sports of all time. I think all of us, from the casual to the high-key fan, wants to see the best golfers on the course at the same time.
And compete against each other.
Right.
Yeah,
well, if they're on the course at the same time, they're competing
that's the
hopefully.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
How wild would that be, though? Like, they're having 2 separate tournaments. All the golfers are on the course at the same time. As like, well, you're PGA, so your scores count for the PGA, and then your live tours are...
It could just be like 24 hours of Daytona or something, where you got like 5 classes going.
The Le Mans of golf.
Yeah, you got the cars going 30 miles an hour faster than the others, trying not to rear end them.
No, we're only playing 54 over here. Y'all play y'all 72.
We got one group in shorts playing 54 in teams, and the other group's all stuffy and whatever.
Couldn't happen at Augusta, though.
That's true. That is definitely true. Well, either way, whether you're suspended from the tour or not suspended from the tour, if you want to improve your golf game, definitely go see Alan Watson and the crew at Golf Plus.
I'm going to get my putter re-grip today, so...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I got a little scramble tournament over there.
Oh, that's he's gearing up for the tourney. I get it. Well, just remember what they say. Sometimes it ain't the arrow, it's the Indian.
Oh, well, it's absolutely the Indian with me. But when, sometimes you got to do something nice for yourself,
Well, there you go. I like it. Well, you look at it this way. It can't hurt, right?
It can't hurt. It's not going to help. But there's that.
Well, anyway.
I'm just trying to support the sponsor of the Inside Driving Golf Plus.
Everybody else, if you want help in your golf game, definitely go out and see Alan Watson, either in Dothan or there at the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly. And again, we're going to be talking about them a lot more. They are the big sponsors here, and we are coming to you from the Golf Plus studio. So you are listening to the Inside Drive. When we get back, I want to delve a little bit into the Nico situation, but there's also been some rules changes in college football that we need to get into. And so that'll be coming up next on the Inside Drive. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, PCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 77 with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour coming out of the south. Tonight, clear skies with lows around 63. Tomorrow, sunny with a light breeze and a temperature near 78. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 79 and mostly sunny. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Clare, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you. Serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
Dreaming of your perfect Florida home? Whether you're buying or selling, I'm here to make it easy. I'm Terry Callahan with Anchor Realty Florida, and I've helped many folks from first-time home buyers to retirees find success in the Bay County real estate market. I'd love to find just the right home and neighborhood to match your family's needs. Let's make your dream home on the Florida Panhandle a reality. Call or text me, Terry Callahan, at 850-919-5025.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. From the fairway to the rough.
I was hoping to squeeze in 9 holes before this rain starts.
From the greens to the bunker.
Certainly, Your Eminency.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan and Jay.
The good Lord would never disrupt the best game of my life.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You can't expect me to come back on the radio serious after that bumper. I mean, that is one of the greatest scenes in cinema.
Yeah. That's from Tin Cup, right?
No. Caddyshack.
Oh, Caddyshack.
Are you kidding? Get out.
Look, that's why you're old and I'm young.
Oh, the classic rain scene where Murray picks up the bag for the Reverend.
Okay, all right, yeah. See, and this is why I talk about sports, even though that's sports, right, rather than pop culture and whatnot, because the confusion in my brain when people say movie quotes is like, bro, I might have seen the movie, but it doesn't stick.
There's a lot of
score, and that sticks.
There's a lot of important things in life I should know and don't, but I do know these things. So, but no, great scene, absolutely. Brian Haddad sitting in for Ryan Mulvey today on the Inside Drive, joined by David Hayes in the Fishbowl. Rocking his Brewers hat today.
Yeah, got Milwaukee on. I think we're going to have Chef Ross on today, so I was doing him a favor.
Yeah, Very good. Very good.
Former Atlanta Braves anyways.
So, okay, let's get into the daily obligatory Nico news. Reports started surfacing yesterday. I want to say they started at the Colin Cowherd show, but I don't, these days, who knows where they actually start. Outkick ran with it early. ESPN has picked it up. Nothing is set in stone yet, but apparently Nico is in talks to join UCLA, but for less money.
Oh, so there is. Do we know the money attached to this?
We don't have the total. Now look,
not the total.
Here's the problem: everybody is in scramble PR mode. The only people who came out of this looking pretty good from a PR standpoint was University of Tennessee and Josh Heupel.
That's until the season starts.
That's
though.
right. Now, until they start
what if
1 and
UCLA
3
goes
and
to the playoffs?
That's right. So, but for right now. Look, Nico's team is very much in scramble mode, and
they should be. Yeah.
Very much putting out there, look, this has never been about the money. Come on,
shut up.
Hey, whatever.
They said that?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, now
to say something so stupid like that.
Look,
it hasn't been about the money. What's it about, bro? The fact that you can't even throw for 20 touchdowns in a season? Like, come on.
So now the spin is that it was more about the trying to get him weapons or a different offense or what.
Then tell them to spend money on weapons.
Fair enough, but.
Yeah,
but it's not
that
about the
grinds
money.
my gears, and not much grinds my daggone gears. Ugh.
So anyway, UCLA has long been, one of the schools named because obviously Nico comes from, out west and everything like that. They were in on his brother, which is an interesting enough story because I guess his brother kind of ghosted him on signing day and ended up going to Arkansas.
You know what his brother's name is? His first name? Madden.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Madden Iamaleava.
Yeah, you have to play football if your name's Madden, right?
But 100%. I also think that the pronunciation of Nico's last name should be changed from Iamaleava to Iamaleava.
Yeah, that's pretty good, too.
Well, I'm not the first person who said that, so don't give me too much credit.
Well, the first person I heard say it, so I'm giving you credit. UCLA is among the schools interested, but not nearly for the money he was asking, sources tell ESPN. One source said UCLA was content to sit tight while he considered his options. What that meant was Nico has no leverage. And that's true. I mean, that was one of the things that we've talked about all week was that the timing was horrendous. I think if he had done this in January, he had a ton of leverage. But when you're talking about doing this now, most everybody's got their money set. They've got their quarterback room set, and you don't have the leverage anymore. They just played a game of chicken to where they didn't figure the University of Tennessee would blink, and they figured the University of Tennessee would blink, and they didn't.
Right.
And so that's how it goes. But sources have told ESPN that Nico wanted at least $4 million from Tennessee, and that what UCLA was prepared to offer him wasn't remotely close. He was already earning $2.4 million at Tennessee under the contract he had signed with Aspire Sports Group, the Tennessee-based collective, when he was still in high school. It's a deal that would have paid him in the $10 million range had he stayed all 4 years at Tennessee. So we don't have any definitive numbers yet. I don't know that we're ever going to get any that we truly can believe, to be honest with you, because this is the Wild West. I do think that it's definitely less money, not because UCLA says so, not because sources say so, because the fans are pivoting the statement of it's not about the money. That's how you know it's less money.
Yeah, but right. I mean,
because otherwise, what they would do would be championing, "Hey, we got our $4 million because we were worth that,
$5 million, whatever." Right. How much do you think the role of Carson Beck going from Georgia to Miami and Carson Beck not necessarily having a great season, Nico not necessarily having a great season? I mean, I think you can make the argument Nico, because of what Tennessee did, Georgia got on into the next round of the playoffs by way of the bye, right? But how much do you think the Carson Beck role played in this?
Only in this sense. The reason this got to the point it did was ultimately it was going to come up to where somebody got told no. Up until this point, I don't believe anybody's been told no. And I think that's what happened more than anything. I think people are going to keep reaching until their hand got slapped. And I think that's what happened. So in the sense that Carson Beck, maybe not with the greatest numbers in the world or whatever like that, got this huge deal to go down to Miami, Maybe they figured, well, look, everybody's getting what they want because, programs are too scared of losing out and then their fan base potentially being upset with them. I think they just rolled the dice based on that. Look, you're never, if you want to be honest, in sports, you don't always get a contract based on your actual production. You get a contract based on your potential. And a lot of people have always thought Carson Beck had potential, have thought Nico has potential, and whether they've actually lived up to it or not yet, that potential is still there. And, until it isn't. So I think what happened inevitably was going to happen at some point. And, I don't even know if I fault the family for trying. I just know this: if you're going to bluff, you better be willing for someone to call that bluff. And I think they got totally caught off guard.
I would be interested to know what the backstory is with the Iamalava family, meaning did they have money prior? Like, I think to make a move like this, you have to be somewhat financially affluent, right? Or at least financially aware. Right? Because I think if you're someone who's coming from nothing and you get something, sure, I think that you're so thankful for what it is that you're getting. And then when you get stingy like this, I think that you kind of get found out. I don't know what their backstory is, but it is also one of those things that the family did shoot themselves in the foot.
This to me strikes me more about not having true professional representation who knows the market. And
that's high school, because right now
that's
there's NIL allowed in high school, but it has to be your family or whatever. There's no agent representation. You get to this level, bro, and you're this highly touted, what are you doing at the next level? You're going to have an agent unless your name's Lamar Jackson and you and your mom find a way to, I don't want to say finagle the Baltimore Ravens because they didn't. Both teams worked out, both sides, both parties had a favorable ending in that story.
Right, but here's what I mean. I think every play they made sense if it was done at the right time.
Yeah, timing.
I think a true professional in this industry would have been able, whether they did it or not, I guarantee you he would have been advised, this is the one time a year where this could completely backfire on you.
Yeah.
And you need to be very careful in how you do this, or maybe lay some groundwork for a big push you make next season or something. But if you make this move right now and they call your bluff, not only are you going to make less money, you're probably going to be in a worse situation, which can affect your future earning potential. If you have to go be the quarterback at North Texas or whatever like that, your path forward to another Tennessee-like program may not be that good. And, you may suffer. I mean, you may not have the kind of line protecting. You may not have the kind of coaching and resources available to you. So if he does end up at UCLA, even though they're not a Tennessee, at least they're a Power 4 program with some level of interest in football. I actually like Sean Foster. I think he does a pretty good job out there. I just think UCLA in general doesn't care all that much about football.
Right. I mean, when you got, 11 championships in college basketball, maybe, you're a little bit more accustomed or attuned to college basketball than you are college football.
Well, fair enough. They've won as many football championships in the last 30 years they have basketball.
There's that. There is that.
It just ensures I'm never going to UCLA
it's still,
again.
There you go.
You do get to play in the Rose Bowl. I mean, that's cool.
Good. You're saying
the actual Rose Bowl, yeah. Probably not playing in the game
point.
anytime soon, but he's in the stadium. Now, look, if it does work out for him, good. I
don't think so.
No, I don't mind a kid getting a shot because I don't know how much of this was him or his family, but I do think it's good that there was an actual kind of slap done.
I do. We don't know if there was a slap.
No, I think he took a horrendous PR slap, and I do think it hurt
PR
his
slap.
PR slap. Possible future earnings potential, definite exposure. And the exposure you're going to get in the SEC and Tennessee and potentially in the playoffs.
Yeah, but UCLA's in the Big Ten. If they were in the Pac-12,
how many UCLA games were aired this year as compared to other games of the Big Ten? Very
Fair
few.
enough. But at the end of the day, guess what? That's true, right? But if you're a fan, you can watch any game you want.
True.
Nico, let's say UCLA starts out 4-0 and they're playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
people are going to tune into that game.
Sure,
and let's not forget either that it's not like they just say, all right, here we're at week 0, or we're in, 2 weeks before week 0, and they just come up with a whole entire TV schedule. No, and they will change things on a dime if something needs to be picked up. So there's the opportunity for them to have just about the same amount of coverage as Tennessee. We'll see how that plays out. But the way that it starts out, 100%. Tennessee is going to be in more primetime situations more so than what UCLA
I'll put it
is.
this way. I don't mind the fact that he got slapped back, whether we can debate till the sun goes down whether or not it was enough.
Yes.
Well, I think financially, he got slapped back. Again, we don't know exactly.
What if he got $1.5 million?
Right. That's less than 2.4.
It's less than, but it's still a $1 million.
I got it. Look, I got it. But my point is that there was a correction made on you.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You got caught with your hand in the cookie jar. There's a punishment. Maybe you had to sit in the corner instead of getting a spanking or whatever like that. But there was a punishment made. I don't mind a redemption story.
I love redemption
off of
stories. Yeah. And I'm all for the kids being able to make their bag, but I think there's also the right way to go about things.
Sure.
And doing that. And for me, it's not necessarily about Nico, and you're right, that's where the PR slap comes in, because it's all coming down on him. For me, it's not necessarily about this situation, but the longevity of how this all ends up playing out. Because now, I hate it in the NFL where it's actually, kind of, all right, it makes sense why you're holding out, but I hate that. So seeing it here in college football and seeing if this works out for Nico, this is going to be something we see a whole lot more
Here's what
of.
Brian would like the best way this could play out for everybody.
Brian.
This is what Brian would like. I would like for Nico to get that redemption, but it to take about 3 years. And I would like, God, as much as I hate saying this, the University of Tennessee to have more success this year than he does. Because I think the worst case scenario for those of us who feel like this was the right move on the University of Tennessee's part is for them to suddenly go 4-8 and Nico have some crazy good season at UCLA, because then the lesson won't be learned. Again, we don't always get in life what we want, because now I have to pull for Tennessee, and that's going to make my hair fall out. But, but I do think, to me, that would be the best situation, that Tennessee has a reasonable season with the guys who were in the backup part of the quarterback room who come up and then do this, and then Nico has to struggle long-term to get back to where he was. If both sides can win in that, but it takes Nico a while to get back there, I think that's the best-case scenario, because most people don't want to think about, I don't want to have to struggle for 3 years to get back.
Well, and I agree with that take. I will also say this, that I'm holding out on what's going to happen until after April 25th, because at the end of the day, someone could see, well, Nico's now at UCLA. Someone could drop out of another school and, try to get in there at Tennessee. That has some hype around them. Will Heupel do that? I don't know. But, I mean, we don't really know about what they have.
Heupel's got it made. And actually, he's got it made because he has his. He's got his Arch Manning,
and he's been given a year.
He has his Arch Manning. George McIntyre in the state of Tennessee.
That's a big name,
huge deal.
And you've lived
came
there.
out of Brentwood Academy.
Yeah,
huge deal.
Okay,
so he's a freshman there, and he throws a beautiful ball. I hate that he went to Tennessee for personal reasons, but whatever.
But comparing that name, McIntyre to Manning, is crazy.
No. He has his
Arch Manning. I'm with you.
So what I'm saying is,
but don't forget that Peyton Manning played at Tennessee too.
Yeah, he did,
so
and he didn't. But Peyton didn't start in game one either. Todd Helton was the starter.
Yeah. No
I was at the game where we broke his leg and ended his football career, and Major League Baseball has thanked us forever for that. And what's ironic, Peyton Manning wasn't the first choice to come in after Todd Helton. There was a guy named Brandon Stewart who was a freshman at exactly the same time. He and Peyton Manning were probably the best two quarterbacks to come in the same recruiting class I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Brandon Stewart came in, was ineffectual against us. Then they brought Peyton Manning in later in the game. He was a little better. Brandon Stewart ended up transferring to Texas A&M after that game. So my point is, Tennessee has a guy there right now who's been the backup who can start probably the first half of the year, be serviceable, be solid, and if things do start to taper off, they can go right to George McIntyre and begin that experiment going forward. They don't have to start McIntyre right away.
Yeah.
And so I think Tennessee, it's not as good a position as having a returning quarterback coming in like Nico would have been. I think they're actually in a decent position. Whereas if McIntyre was their only next guy, I think they'd have to rush him to the field, and that wouldn't be good.
And that's another thing that perplexes me about the whole entire situation is when you go down the list of SEC quarterbacks, really you can go to collegiate quarterbacks, and we're talking about returning quarterbacks. That's always such a big deal when you have a year underneath your belt. And the fact is, now he's going to a new system over there with Deshaun Foster and UCLA, where you knew your system here, and you got to the playoff last year. So if you, to be honest with you, Nico, had you played better football, who's to say that maybe they don't knock off Ohio State? But that's neither here nor there. The result has already happened. Now you build with your squad. And to me, it doesn't make sense for, $1.5 million, which is a large amount of money. No doubt about that. But my goodness, man, like there's more opportunity for you to make more money when you've already been building the brand. Now you have to go rebuild the brand that you started in Tennessee over there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it was one of those things where, you made a play and someone called it. This might be the first time in his life anybody's ever told him no.
He hasn't been playing much poker lately.
No, you remember when people tell you no for the first time, let me tell you. You're listening to The Inside Drive. Brian Haddad sitting in for Ryan Mulvey today. Looks like we're actually going to have Steve Barnes on with us a little bit later on today at 12:20. We're going to go into a lot more headlines here. I want to talk some Major League Baseball next as we kind of get settling into the season a little bit here. And then don't forget, 12:40, we're going to announce our name for the race to Talladega. Remember, if you hear your name called, be ready by that phone to give us a call and enter in to get your chance to go see the Jack Links 500 on Sunday, April 27th. That'll be at 12:40. On the show here today. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back with more Inside Drive.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Race to Talladega. Join Coach Hale mornings at 7:15 and 8:15 to enter. Then at 12:40 and 5:40, listen for your name to be called. If we announce your name, race to the phones. How long it takes you to call 850-215-6290 is your qualifying time. The two fastest qualifying times win a pair of tickets to the Jack Links 500 from PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Panama City Toyota, and your racing station. ESPN Northwest Florida.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Dreaming of your perfect Florida home? Whether you're buying or selling, I'm here to make it easy. I'm Terry Callahan with Anchor Realty Florida, and I've helped many folks from first-time home buyers to retirees find success in the Bay County real estate market. I'd love to find just the right home and neighborhood to match your family's needs. Let's make your dream home on the Florida Panhandle a reality. Call or text me, Terry Callahan, at 850-919-5025.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh when you start.
Locally sourced, farm to radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back on the Inside Drive. Brian Haddad sitting in for Ryan Mulvey today on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. And don't forget, we're coming to you from the Golf Plus studios here. And if you need any help with your golf game, look, the weather has never been better for golf than it right now, and get out there and enjoy that golf. Go out there and hit some of those Rory shots from the Masters. You know, everybody can do it, right?
That's what I'm doing in the Panama Country
That's
Club.
right.
I'm just going to be, I'm going to hit it into the pine straw every single time.
But look, golf, it's a wonderful, wonderful game, but it is so much better when you have the right equipment and you're playing your best. And there's nobody better to go see than Alan Watson and the fine folks there at Golf Plus. There are so many little things you can do now with your clubs that can improve your game. It's not like the old days where you just had to buy a set of clubs off the rack and hope they matched your game. Nowadays, you can, change your shaft angle, the density, the flex. You could change the thickness of your grip. I mean, sometimes something as simple as that will stop you duck hooking the ball the way I do, or slamming it right. I mean, it's simple things like that. Finding the right putter for you. Just, a lot of people don't think about visually what a putter looks like has such an impact. And they're going to sit there with you and find the right equipment for you for where you can enjoy the game of golf the way it's meant to be enjoyed, and not just scream and yell and chuck clubs like I've done in my life. So get out there and see Alan and the folks there at Golf Plus, again, up in Dothan, or
going there today,
right here in Panama City Beach, in the shops at Edgewater, right there next to Firefly. So absolutely go see those guys today, and thank them also for sponsoring this show here that we're able to bring you today.
I've gotten a couple of texts, so we might as well.
Let's go, man.
Bring it up here, but
Brian, you're no. Those are the usual ones.
It has nothing to do with you. Come on, why do you think you're so daggone popular? No, I'm kidding.
Everything's about me, buddy.
Coach Brian Haddad doing a great job here on the Inside Drive, but from Josie on the Go and multiple other outlets as well. In Tallahassee, there's a dangerous situation. An active shooter has been reported in the area. Student Union police are on the scene or on the way. Continue to seek shelter and await further instructions. Lock and stay away from all doors and windows, and be prepared to take additional protective measures. So get that gat out, and they come.
Gracious.
Put a splat on your wall.
Kind of thing we hear way too often these days there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's a sad situation. I don't know how it keeps on coming up. There's different sides have different ideas on why these things keep happening. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you one thing. The cost of what it takes for you to work on your mental health is too high, and insurance doesn't help enough.
Well, and look, the other thing I would just say to people in general, and look, it's always easy to say, but, we've all had struggles, and it's never as bad as you make it out to be in your own head. There's always a way forward. And I think a lot of times when these situations come up, and I certainly don't want to go too philosophical down this road.
Hey, do it. Come on, Aristotle.
But I think what happens a lot of times is it starts from people who feel like there's no way forward for them.
Yeah.
And that's, if there's any level of common denominator, it seems like that. And yeah, look, things can be brutally bad, and it could be very difficult to get back, but there's always a way forward that does not involve taking your own life, taking others with you.
Yeah, but that's the worst part about it is, if it's that's bothering you, and taking your own is bad enough, but taking others with you just because of how down you are.
That's
Not saying that I'm disagreeing with you at all.
No,
I understand. Right. It's just one of those things that now other families are going to be suffering because of your suffering, when in all reality, had you picked up the phone or had people in your corner or your support system been there for you, maybe we're not having to deal with the loss of that. As someone who's been very close to someone very close to me taking their own life. So
and so hopefully that gets resolved, with no injury, no loss of life, no anything like that.
100%.
But definitely a situation to keep up with.
And you never know,
it's close to us.
Right, exactly. You never know. There could be someone who listens daily on the ESPN Northwest Florida app over there.
That's right.
And had no idea about this going on, so just felt like we should bring it up.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So hopefully we'll get some good updates on that as it goes forward. Let's talk a little Major League Baseball here on the Inside Drive. Again, we're several weeks into the season, about 19, 20 games into the season, depending on the teams. Let's give some scores from yesterday. And I want to look at some of the stat charts here as we start this, because there's a few interesting ones on there. How about my Yanks? Getting it done over the Royals yesterday, 4-3.
Go that direction,
there we go.
We're going to go this.
I don't care. I love it. Music to my ears.
That's what they deserve.
Music to my ears. 4-3 over the Royals there. The Bravos came up a little short against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays playing some good baseball here. 11-8 on the season. I think the Yanks have them by a half game in the East. But 3-1, Blue Jays get past the Braves. Spencer Strider, though, threw 5 innings and looked all right coming back.
100 pitches in 5 innings, which is almost becoming the norm, so
That's
it is
right.
what it is. But also a bright spot there is Drake Baldwin hit his first career home run in the designated hitter spot with Marcell Ozuna dealing with a little sore hip situation. So, yeah, no doubt about that. It's been a tough season as a Braves fan, and I can't promise you as a Braves fan that anything is going to be turning around anytime soon, so just deal with it.
Well,
deal with it. If it makes you that mad, just don't watch.
Look, here's what's turning around for the Braves, though. If you, in all honesty, look, they played
the record from last year.
Yeah, they played. That's definitely turned around. They played 18 games, but 13 have been on the road.
On the road, yeah.
So
but the Angels are 9-7, and they've played majority of.
Yeah,
their
but they're
games
probably
on the road.
playing to more Angels fans on the road than they do at home.
Yeah, you might be right about that, brother.
All right, so the Brewers. I'm telling you, everybody who said the Brewers were trash when they lost that opening series to the Yanks. Brewers aren't a bad squad either, 5-1. They take out the Tigers, who's a good squad there, too. Both teams over 500 on the season. Quintana gets the win there. The Twins, who've been struggling this year, they get a really good pat on the back from Braves fans. They take out the Mets in 10 innings, 4-3. 7-12 on the season now for the Twins. Mets drop to 11-7. The Cardinals take out the trash cans. I mean, the Astros, 4-1. Cardinals looking good this season. They were, not do a whole lot here. 9-9 on the season for the Cards. Astros drop to 8-10. The Cubbies fall to the hottest team in baseball, the San Diego Padres out west. San Diego is now 12-1 at home, and they beat the Cubs 4-2. Pivetta gets the win. He goes to 3-1 on the season. The Orioles 9, the Guardians 1. Guardians been a little surprising. I thought they'd get off to a little better start. The Orioles I definitely thought would be off to a better start, but they finally turned it on there. 9-1 at home, get the win over the Guardians. The D-backs take out the Marlins in Miami 6-2. Diamondbacks go to 11-7 on the season. Brandon Pfaadt gets the win. Max Meyer with the loss for the Fish. Seattle takes care of the Reds. Kyle, AG, sorry, buddy. 9-9.
Did you revel in that, though, when you were on set with Kyle?
No, it wasn't over yet.
It
wasn't over yet. But the Mariners were up, I think, 3-0 at the time, so I could have made jokes. I was ready to get out of there. If I made that joke, I might not have gotten out the door. But anyway, it was 5-3. Both squads 9-9 on the season. The Pirates take down the Nats 6-1. Pirates move to 7-12 on the season. The G-Men, second best record in baseball. San Francisco takes out Caveman's Phillies in Philadelphia, 11-4. Giants go to 13-5 on the
Let's
season.
Go Giants.
There you go. Aaron
I'll
Nola.
take that.
Aaron Nola drops to 0-4.
0-4.
That's something.
But okay, that's one thing. What's the ERA reading right now?
6.65.
That's it just, you don't think about that, especially when we talked about how good that Phillies starting rotation
Phillies
was
are
going
10-8 on the season. Nola's lost 4 of the games.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
So, things you don't want to think about if you're a Phillies fan.
Exactly. Give them the Nico treatment. Red Sox blank the Rays 1-0. Let's see here. 10-10 for the Red Sox now. And Tampa drops to 8-10.
Hey, but how about them being 8-7 over there at Steinbrenner? And they're going to be playing a lot of games here early in the season there.
David Hamilton with the home run to give us the only score of the game. The Athletics of Nowhere beat...
And that was his first home run of the season,
That's right.
as well.
That's right. The Athletics of Nowhere beat the Chicago White Sox, who wish they were nowhere. 3-1. A's 8-10 on the year. The White Sox, after being 1-0, are now 4-13 on the year.
Yeah, sensible.
Probably right
Makes
where
sense.
everybody expected. The Angels, who've been one of the big surprises on the year, they do lose on the road to Texas, who's looking really, really good, making my World Series pick, or World Series loss pick for them earlier this year. Looked good, but they're 11-7 on the season. Patrick Corbin gets the win for the Rangers, and the Dodgers.
Dang, I didn't even know Corbin was over there with the Rangers. That's a rotation right there.
The Dodgers eke one out over the worst team in baseball, the Rockies, 8-7. But hey, they all count in the win.
I had a little. I think I put like $3 on Shohei and Freddie Freeman total base bets last night, and both of them fell half a base short.
Oh, of course they did.
Like, come on, man.
Dodgers take out the Rockies 8-7. Dodgers move to 14-6 on the season, and the Rockies 3-15. So again, the Atlanta champ. Thank God for the Rockies. Let's look at the stat lines though, because I thought this was interesting. David,
what you got here? We got a minute.
If I gave you a million guesses, who would you think is leading Major League Baseball in batting average, the only player right now currently hitting over 400? He's won 2 MVPs.
What team does he play for?
Why am I asking?
The Yankees. Judge?
Aaron Judge, leading Major League Baseball.
Like that? What are you, a snake?
And batting
Come
at
on.
409.
Are you a Yankees fan too, Paul? No, don't do this. Guy, he's flipping his hands back and forth, saying that's sort of kind of like, come on, my goodness gracious. That was the end of your introduction.
Yeah, I didn't mention that to you. Tyler Soderstrom continues to lead Major League Baseball in home runs. He has 8.
I picked him up in fantasy baseball, and that has been I got Sam Peebles on the line with me at 4 o'clock this afternoon on the Afternoon Underdogs, and we're playing each other in fantasy baseball right now. We play categories, not players' points. In that particular league, I'm up 13 categories to 0. So what that means is by the time that we're done with it, he's going to be up 13 categories to 0.
Very quickly, Judge sitting second in the league in home runs and second in the league in RBIs. So he's actually, he would be Triple Crown right now in the American League, but he's one behind Soderstrom there. But also the greatest nickname in sports is sitting tied for second in home runs for Seattle. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper.
The big dumper.
And then, and baseball fans,
that is good.
Mike Trout. 6 home runs on the season, sitting tied for fifth, tied for 4th right now.
Always good for baseball when he's playing good baseball, or when he's playing in general.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
No doubt.
And really hope he's able
Trade
to
him
play.
to the Dodgers.
More than anything, I hope he's able to play a full season.
Yeah.
And then you're right. And then the Dodgers will pay him $8 billion. All deferred, by the way.
All deferred.
All right. Well, when we get back from the break here, it's going to be time for a little afternoon delight. And I don't know where we're going today, but I always love that segment. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun here. And again, we'd still love to take your phone calls. You can give us a call at 215-6290, 215-6290. You are listening to The Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Race to Talladega.
And now on the line with us, our second qualifier, Paul Ritchie, with the time of what, James?
5 seconds.
5 seconds? Paul, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing well, man. On the scale of 1 to 10, how excited you are about the possibility of going to Talladega?
Always a 10. Always a 10.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, sunny and a temperature of 77 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the south. Clear skies tonight, a calm wind and quite warm near 63. Sunny and 78 tomorrow. 79 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Saturday. Sunday, mostly clouds and a temperature about the same at 81. This is your Thursday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Come experience
Experience the weird and wonderful world of El Weirdo, a brewery and taco pub in downtown Panama City on Oak Avenue. El Weirdo is serving up delicious street tacos, magical lizard fries, locally brewed beer, margaritas, and more, all surrounded by art, oddities, and all things weird. It's a feast for your eyes and your mouth. Visit El Weirdo in historic downtown Panama City today.
El Weirdo, 24 West Oak Avenue, and online at elweirdodowntown.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Skyrockets in flight.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
I'm just chilling, man.
Okay, all right. Chilling, man. Like, all right, bro.
Oh,
you
my
trying to go back to
favorite.
middle school or something?
Yeah, there
trying
you
to raise
go.
up the teachers or something? You're like,
No
what does
comment.
that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
What are
Yeah.
these fancy new words you youngsters do?
You youngsters,
Those aren't
I'm
hip.
trying to catch on to them.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it doesn't get better. Trust me. All right, Afternoon Delight, my absolute favorite segment on this show. And we're going anywhere and everywhere. And the headline is what draws me. And then we're all going to experience the story together. But, wow. All right, let's start with this one here. Okay, Dave, you ready? Helicopter crash in South Africa blamed on unsecured penguin.
Yeah, we.
I hate that it was a helicopter. Oh, did he really?
He already
Okay.
did this one.
I was
but it
gonna
reminds
say,
me.
I meant to ask you that during the break because that one above anything caught my eye.
So it reminds me of this, the correlation, and then I'll let you get into the to the story.
Well, no, we can move to another. I just thought that was the best
redo
headline
it again
I
because
saw.
I would love to get your ideas on it. But last night at church, the pastor kind of opens up with, I used to like to watch Cops until I watched all the episodes, is what he said. And this is Pastor Rick McClung here telling this story. And then he goes on to say, the guy's in an empty parking lot doing a drug deal in broad daylight, and the cops, find baggies on him, put it on the hood, and they're showing him, they show him the baggies, and it's like, so what is this, or whose drug is this? And he's like, I don't know, it's not mine. Status quo answer right there. And then he goes on to say, or he said, where did you find that? And they're like, in your pants. And he's like, well, these ain't my pants. It's like, that's what that kind of, for some reason, it struck a correlation right there.
There's a great old Eddie Murphy bit where he just keeps saying, it wasn't me.
Well, it wasn't me. All right,
Wasn't me.
Shaggy.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I can't go into the rest of it here on the radio. We'd be in trouble, but it was a great bit. All right, so here we go. The South African Civil Aviation Authority said a low-altitude helicopter crash that didn't result in any injuries. Okay, good. So now we can laugh again. Was caused by an unusual passenger famous for its lack of flight experience, a penguin. So the pilot and 3 human passengers landed on Bird Island, well, that makes sense, off Eastern Cape on January 19th, and a passenger described as a specialist placed a penguin from the island in a cardboard box and brought it aboard the aircraft. The pilot conducted a risk assessment of the flight. However, he omitted to include the carriage, transportation of the penguin on board. So they held the box with the penguin on his lap in the front seat, but he lost his grip just after takeoff. The box slid into the pilot's cyclic pitch control lever. The lever was pushed to the far right position, causing the helicopter to roll to the right and strike the ground with its rotors. Sustained serious damage, but no human or penguin passengers were harmed. So that's what happens when you try and get a penguin to fly. I love that story. I love that headline.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
You try to get a penguin to fly, and you're going down.
That's right. Yeah, there's a reason they don't fly. How about this one? A Michigan bookstore convened a book brigade of more than 300 people to move 9,100 pieces of inventory from its old location to its new space, one book at a time. So Michelle Tuplin, the owner of Serendipity Books in Chelsea, put out a call for volunteers when it became time for the store's location to move to a larger facility about 350 feet from its former home. So this makes sense of why somebody didn't just go, y'all have heard of vans, right? Or moving vans or something.
Moving vans.
Yeah, 350
Heard
feet.
of them a time or two. Seen them too as well.
More than 300 volunteers and one dog formed human chains between the two buildings and literally passed books one at a time in alphabetical order. People really consider independent bookstores theirs, which I do agree. I'm a big fan of actual independent bookstores, and it's really a part of the community. So, again, moving the books one book at a time via 300 volunteers. That's kind of neat that you'd get the community together and do something like that. Here's one for you. 918 people play Monopoly in Australia to break the world record.
How many people?
918.
Did they have enough Monopoly money to make this happen? Cannot.
Inflation is a hell of a thing.
I mean, not only inflation, but then, we could be talking about what is it when you, make money that you shouldn't be making? Counterfeit.
Oh, yeah.
Counterfeit Monopoly money? I'm not with that at all. Your orange $500 bills better be real. Don't bring them to my banking station like that.
You brought me fake money.
Yeah.
So a total of 918 people sat down at 150 tables to play simultaneous games of Monopoly and break a Guinness World Record in Australia. The record attempt in Sydney was organized by the Little Legs Foundation, a charity that raises funds and awareness for children with brain cancer. And then Sue Ellen and Mariano Vassalou, whose daughter Allegra died of brain cancer at the age of 6 in 2017. We really wanted to create a space that allowed for both young and old to come together, celebrate and accomplish something that everyone would be proud of, all whilst raising awareness for the disease that took our daughter. That was really neat. The attempt was the second organized by the foundation after a previous attempt for the most people playing Monopoly fell 30 people short of the previous record at 733. What I want to know, was it like everyone in my family and it broke out into a fist fight at the end of the Monopoly?
Oh, is that a fist fight?
We were a little competitive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference in being competitive and it turning into violence against another human being, and then violence against the Monopoly board, because that's normally what happens is just flip that sucker.
Well, if you look at it, you got bail money and you got to go to jail right there.
Yeah, so, there you go. You know what I was playing the other night with some of my aunts, and my mom was in town along with my grandpa.
That's right.
They left yesterday afternoon, but we were playing Yahtzee.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all are going to have to refresh me on the rules.
Look, I mean, from my exploits to Vegas and all that, I'm no stranger to games involve dice.
Yeah, so, no doubt. But this is 5 dice and not 2, A
lot of times I wish I had 5 dice on the craps table.
I was about to say, we're taking full-on dumps.
Hard to throw 7 on that. All right, so now here's something I can definitely get behind. Are you ready? Petition to rename airport for Dolly Parton amasses 51,000 signatures. A pair of Nashville creatives started an online petition to rename the city's airport there. I don't even know. I've flown out of that airport 1,000 times. I know the code is B&A, but I'm not sure what the actual name of it is. So I'm definitely in favor of this. But the petition is to rename the city's airport after music legend Dolly Parton, now amassed more than 50,000 signatures. Comedian Lydia Popovich and Goat Song Records comedy label owner Dan Dion launched the Change.org petition in wake of a failed attempt by State Rep Todd Warner to have the Nashville International Airport, okay, that's all it is, renamed for President Donald Trump. I could actually see that failing in Nashville, believe it or not. The duo said they first discussed a campaign to have the airport renamed in Parton's honor about 2 years ago, and they finally started the petition when it seems right. Dolly's a great Tennessean and a great unifier who adds legitimacy to the South because her story resonates with everyone. So I can tell you I am all in favor of this. I am a huge Dolly Parton fan. I thought she was fantastic at Thanksgiving, where she upstaged that, who's the Harlow guy? Made
Jack
him look
Harlow.
like a fool. I
Jack
loved
Harlow.
it. And she's 1,000. and still getting it done.
I mean, 1,000 in and 1,000 on a scale of 1 to 10. So
yeah, more known
for
for East Tennessee, but obviously country music capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee. I think it would be great. I mean, like I said, it's a very bland name, just simply Nashville International Airport. And I think that could be pretty cool if they would do that. So add me to the list there. We'll take it. 51,001 signatures. I got to read this one. What in the world's going on here? New York Zoo is using drones to search for an escaped beaver. Officials with the Utica Zoo in New York announced that they are using drones to search for a beaver that escaped from the facility. The 2-year-old beaver named Cauliflower had only been at the zoo for a few weeks when keepers discovered that he had escaped sometime before the end of the day on Wednesday. The beaver was initially spotted near the zoo's Rotary Pavilion and after the alarm was sounded Wednesday evening, but he managed to give workers the slip and sparked a search that has now gone on for nearly a week. So far, we feel like we've done everything we can think of to no avail. Then we realize we can try drones. So see, drones are taking over every aspect of our life. War, fun, and then searching for lost zoo animals.
And yeah, and other things too, like, shooting fireworks a little bit higher and taking your shark bait out there. If you're fishing for sharks, you could take the drones out there to drop the bait instead of having to get out on a daggum kayak and drop it off like that.
All right, so this one's going to hit close to home for me for a couple of reasons, and I also think these people are fools. 2,461 people take the cold weather swim to break a world record in the Czech Republic. Obviously, having been involved in swimming my whole life, a total of 2,461 bathers braved the frigid waters of the Czech Republic's second largest lake to break a world record for the largest polar bear dip. Czech freediver David Vinci organized the March 1st attempt at Most Lake, where the water was measured at below 50 degrees. I cannot begin to express how dangerous that is, but whatever. Guinness Book of World Records confirmed the bathers took the record from 1,799 cold weather swimmers who took the plunge at the Ice Swimmers Convention in Poland back in 2015. Vinci previously held the record for the longest swim under ice, breath held, no fins, and no diving suit, which he set in 2021 and only lost in March of this past year. So 2,461 fools jumped in really, really cold water. I don't get it. All right, let's branch off
for your nervous
thing.
system.
No. I mean, if that's the case, just dunk your face in a little ice,
That's
bowl.
what they're doing. I think that's what the kids are doing. Like, I see skits on, they'll be in college or whatever, and they'll fill up a bowl with ice and then pour some sort of, I don't know if it's water or maybe it's something else, but if it's something else, it's like, what is really wrong with your brain? But yeah, they'll just dunk their head into an ice bowl of water. I think it's, I don't want to use I think it's stupid.
Yeah, no, I think that's the technical medical term.
Yeah.
I
went to the pool. I went to a pool over the weekend, and it was frigid. But I jumped in there like 3 or 4 times because it was nice to like jump in, then get out, and the sun kind of,
I think people too often measure degrees and things in what they're used to with air, and it's extremely different in water. And what I mean by that is, if you're expecting it to be 80 degrees outside and it's 65, it's not a major change to your system. If you're expecting water to be 80 degrees and you jump in at 65, I don't care if you're Mother Teresa, you are 4-lettering for a minute. It is brutally, brutally cold. And the vast temperature changes like that, whether it's too hot or too cold, are actually very dangerous. So I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here, but you have to be extremely careful in water that cold because you really start to lose a lot of motor function, blood flow slows, hypothermia can kick in very quickly, just as which you have to be very careful when the water gets way too hot, like potentially imagine the Gulf in the summer. And, we always talk about the hot water feeding the hurricanes, but it can be very, very deadly to you because your entire body is enveloped in that heat. You know, it's not like being outside where it's really hot, but you might get a little bit of breeze that can help and things like that. Your body is completely enveloped. And so water that's 86, 87 degrees, if you're trying to do any kind of activity in it, could be like being in 110, 120 degree air. And so it's really dangerous. So I'm not trying to, just kind of poo-poo everything that they're doing there. But I'm sorry, jumping in 50-degree water willingly, it just strikes me as kind of dumb. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
One more again. We agree.
All right. So this isn't dumb because there's too many of you out there and you have weapons and you might beat me up. But I'm going to say this one. I'm going to go into the next story here. Pickleball enthusiasts play 36-hour marathon to break a world record. So a team of 4 pickleball enthusiasts broke a Guinness World Record in Texas by playing 36 consecutive hours of matches. The team, who call themselves the Pickle Breakers, right, they need a new name, took on the record for the longest marathon playing pickleball. Oh, my God, this has to be a joke. At Pickler Universe in Carrollton, Texas, and ended their attempt at 36 hours. The current world record is held by a foursome who played for 34 hours, 5 minutes, and 55 seconds in Britain in September 24. Evidence from the latest attempt must still be reviewed and approved by the record-keeping organization. The Pickle Breakers, Chong Kim, Jarrett Petrus, Laura Mala, and Geneva Olson started playing at 6 a.m. local time on Saturday. Olson's husband, Mark, told the local news they're tired. It's been a long night. I guess so. The attempt raised over $18,000 for Taylor's Gift Foundation, a charity supporting organ donation and providing aid to families who donate the organs of their loved ones. So at least there's a really good, story to this, because I've never played pickleball. I'm sure it's fun. I doubt it's for me, but 36 hours, I couldn't play 36 hours of golf.
I don't think I could play 36 hours of anything.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. 36. And pickleball, too. But like I said, pickleball community, I support you because I'm scared of you.
Okay,
There's too many of you, and like I said, you all have weapons.
You have an issue with pickleball?
No, I don't.
I heard support.
No, I support the pickleball community.
You're
only
like
because I'm scared of them. And no, I'm not old enough.
No, you're at the prime. I play pickleball, man. I've played it 3 times, but I played that more. Those 3 times are more times than I played tennis.
So now I'm going to get beat up. Let me tell you something. I am old enough to be the get off my lawn guy.
Yes,
there are 2 things in my life. If you ever see me do, Baker act me. All right. Number 1, if you see me playing pickleball.
We were talking about mental health earlier, and
I'm giving you a warning sign.
72 hours.
You see me playing pickleball. That's the first one. The second one, you ever see me hit a hybrid golf club? I refuse. I'm sorry. I came from generation.
You gotta play golf to hit a hybrid golf club.
No, I do. And I'm telling you, and I'm sorry, Alan, I know they're great. And look, I'm not telling you people not to hit them. They're great.
People. Who's you people?
I'm telling you, people who aren't me, I'm telling you, I hit the perfect age range to where when those came out, the only people hitting them were 60.
Yeah.
And I was like, never. I'm never doing it. I can hit a 1-iron, I can hit a 2-iron, which I can't, but I'm going to go down in flames trying it. And it's a mental thing. I will never be able to swing. And they have made such amazing advances in them to the point that pros use them, and they're fantastic clubs. And I cannot break the mental block. So you ever see me playing pickleball or hitting a hybrid golf club, bring out the straitjackets. It's time. So I'm dying on that hill, baby. I don't care.
I am going to see you tomorrow. Yeah. Where would I get a straitjacket from? Do I have to go to a mental asylum to find one of those? Because I want to put you in a straitjacket.
I hope they never know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We'll need a straitjacket anyway. We got Jimmy coming in tomorrow.
Hey, there we go, man. That guy is awesome. Can't wait for it.
Well, anyway, a lot of world records broken apparently here on today's Afternoon Delight. That was a heck of a lot of fun. We learned why penguins don't fly, and we learned why idiots jump in cold water, and why people love to play 36-hour pickleball matches. But anyway, absolutely love that segment and love bringing it to you here every day on the Inside Drive. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk to our buddy Steve Barnes here, maybe get a little update on some more of the Nico situation. Also want to talk to Steve about a new rule that's hopefully going to prevent some of the faking of injuries in college football, which certainly has become a big problem. So Steve Barnes from therebelwalk.com will join us next. You're listening to the Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, sunny and a temperature of 77 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the south. Clear skies tonight, a calm wind and quite warm near 63. Sunny and 78 tomorrow. 79 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Saturday. Sunday, mostly clouds and a temperature about the same at 81. This is your Thursday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text OFTEN to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text OFTEN to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text OFTEN to 200-300. That's OFTEN to 200-300. OFTEN to 200-300.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. Coming in hot.
So hot.
It's a bit hot one. Really hot. God damn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Straight jackets. Man, he won for Dave there.
Come on,
Did you hurt yourself with them dance moves?
Yeah, of course, man. The back is like creaking and cracking back here like a daggum old wooden door.
Oh man, well we got to bring in the voice of sanity into the equation today. So we're going to the phone lines to talk to our good buddy from the rebelwalk.com, Steve Barnes. Steve, what's going on, my friend?
Did I hear you correctly? There's a pickleball team called the Pickle Breakers?
There is indeed.
Wow.
Should be a team name called the Pickle Can Openers or Jar Openers.
Yeah.
I played for some intramural teams that had some names now, but not the Pickle Breakers. I mean, I played on a basketball team at Ole Miss. We were the Jedi Surf Punks. An intramural softball team that I don't know how they came up with this name, but we liked it. It was the Flaming Cockroaches. Now, the names were good, the teams were bad, but Pickle Breakers, I'm not sure I could play for that team.
Well, Steve,
and,
yeah, go ahead.
And Dave, if you're looking for a straitjacket, come back over here. I literally live next to a mental health facility. Literally, I can see it from my bedroom window.
You think they would lease a straitjacket for tomorrow?
I'm sure they could. I mean,
I might have to go in there and spend a couple hours to try.
I'm an XL, Steve.
It's a huge complex over here. Now. There's room for everybody.
He knows his size. There's straitjackets.
Oh my gosh. Oh, my God. Well, I've been fitted a few times. I'm just saying.
Is that better than a green jacket?
No, this is not a trophy you want in
I want a
sports,
white jacket with buttons and straps and everything
in the
else.
back. No, I don't think so. Oh, my goodness. Well, Steve, obviously, I know we talked to you about this on Monday. Obviously, it was huge news over the weekend, but we've got a new chapter in the saga of Nico, as you will, in that sources are now claiming that potentially there's a deal in place for him to go to UCLA for what is being called less money. The family is out there now in PR scramble mode saying, oh, it was never about the money, this, that, or the other. What's your take on kind of the latest developments in the Nico saga?
Well, the last number I heard UCLA was offering is $1.75 million. UCLA's got all the leverage here.
Yep.
So, I mean, Nico thought he had it with Tennessee. Well, I'll go somewhere else if you don't do it. Okay, go somewhere else. So now UCLA's like, if you don't take this, you can go somewhere else. So I think it's going to be interesting Thanksgiving dinner this year when, Nico looks at his dad and thinks, you cost me $46,000 a week. That's what the kid was making, $46,000 a week. And he wasn't happy with it. And this PR, it wasn't about the money. It was about the offense.
Yeah.
Excuse me? You don't want to play for Josh Heupel's offense?
Oh, I know. Isn't that something?
I mean, come up with better excuses.
So for for what, $700,000 less dollars a year, he's going to play behind a worse offensive line, hand the ball off to worse running backs, and throw to less talented wide receivers.
And have to travel a lot because he's going to be in the Big Ten.
That's right. And
So
quite frankly, he's fortunate he's going to be at UCLA because it could have been worse.
I think it hit rock bottom for him when UCF said no.
Yeah. And
Like,
Tulane.
UCF doesn't
Tulane
want him.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's John Summerall.
Right.
John Summerall would not take that.
Yeah.
I know that man. He was a Troy. And kid shows his butt. Bye-bye.
Yeah. No.
He's old school. I mean, he's an old linebacker from Kentucky, back when it was yes, sir, coach, no, sir, coach, and the coach would grab you by the face mask to make sure you were listening to it.
Well, and look, this might not be fair, but, and we are still talking about kids, but, I mean, it's bad enough that any football player would kind of do that, basically hold out for themselves over the team, right? Everything about football has been 11 coming together as one, the team. But the position above all that has to show leadership is the quarterback, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the 11, I played all through high school, and I remember the last time, I knew I was going to be in that huddle for the last time, my senior year. And I just looked around and thought, I'm going to miss this. And the guys who were in that huddle, I've been in some of their weddings. I've been there when their kids were born. I've been there when their grandkids were born. I mean, there's just such camaraderie. And if you don't have the quarterback to lead that huddle, you're not going to find that. And I'm not sure that Nico's quite the leader.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned, your kids. I forgot who said that. I saw it the other day. When these kids take that money,
yeah,
they are no longer kids.
Fair enough.
They're young men.
Fair enough. I mean, that's actually an excellent point. I want to pivot over to something else. Now, this broke this morning, so I haven't really been able to study it all the way through, but I kind of want to get your basic take on this. So the Rules Committee approved a plan yesterday, a new rule that if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball has been spotted by the crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. If the team doesn't have any timeouts remaining, that team will be assessed a 5-yard delay of game penalty. The proposal is to adjust the injury timeout rule that resulted, in teams faking injuries, to stop their opponent's momentum or whatever like that. So, I guess my first question is, do we think this has any impact at all? Maybe helps a little, but still doesn't stop it? Because, look, if you're really trying to end some momentum and this, that, or the other, I think you're willing to give up 5 yards, but is it a step in the right direction is my question.
It's just too subjective. I mean, the referees now have to, be doctors. And I saw a game, this was 2 or 3 years ago, where, the defense, they were flopping, basically, looked like. And one kid did it in the fourth quarter during an important drive. Crowds booing like crazy. Well, I had to get the card out here. The kid had broken his ankle.
Yeah.
So are you going to say, well, he flopped 5 yards, and then, wait a second, we got to pick him up apart so we can go get him x-rayed?
Yeah.
It's too subjective. I think instead of the timeout of 15 yards, the player who flops, he has to sit out the rest of that series.
See, I've always agreed with that as well. And look, the unintended consequence of things like that, and look, I get it. I hate the faking of injuries, and we all know, we can see it. But there's always the worry that one time you're wrong. And the other thing you would encourage is players trying to play through things they don't need to play through and make it significantly worse and put themselves at real peril. So, it may be one of those kind of necessary evils. Yes, people are going to take advantage of rules to their own, benefit. But, yeah, I'm kind of with you in that it certainly does put a lot more subjective judging. Well, actually, what it does is it takes it out of the league office and puts it in the hands of the officials on the field, which I'm not sure is a better play.
And a drawback to my little idea about, sitting out the rest of the series, let's say a defense has 3 safeties that are really, really good.
Yeah.
One of them goes down. It's no big deal. You got 2 others to replace him. Let this kid go over there and get some rest for, a series, put him back in. So, I mean, there's always, like you said, there's always going to be a way around it.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Shaw.
Speaking of,
yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of football, and like I said, the FSU had the active shooter. Congratulations to Florida State's Heisman Trophy winner, Charlie Ward, now head basketball coach at Florida A&M.
Yeah, how about
He's a
that?
Good guy. He coached over here at Washington High School, and I did a couple of his games on radio. He's a smart guy, really could articulate to the kids, had a no cussing rule.
Wow.
If a kid cussed at practice, he ran the rest of practice.
Wow.
Those kids learned really, really quick. He was also it was Booker T. Washington High School.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he got the job is that's where Derek Brooks went.
I didn't know Brooks was from there.
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called and begged him. Well, the home stadium is at the Derek Brooks Roy Jones Jr. Sports Complex. And you're a swim coach.
I've swam in that pool and coached in that pool at Washington High School. I sure have.
And Beth Barr and Daniel Waters.
That's
both
right.
Swam there, both made the Olympics team.
Actually competed didn't compete directly against Beth. Daniel was a little older than me, but I've been in competitions with both of them and Andrea Hayes, who was the third Pensacola native who made that Olympic team. I know them all.
It's weird. It's happened in threes. Milton High School. That's where my dad went. Back then it was Santa Rosa County High School. They produced 3 PGA golfers at the same time. Bubba Watson, Heath Slocum, and oh my gosh, they're going to kill me in Milton. I can't think of the other kid.
Gotta say, you can't drive into Milton now. I'm trying to remember who it is because those were the 2 I always think of.
And, right across the bay to Scambie, you didn't have 3, you had 2, but Scambie High School had Jerry Pate and Joe Durant.
Yeah. Jerry Pate won the U.S. Open at the Atlanta Athletic Club, I believe, because my uncle lived on that course. So
I still wish we had the Pensacola Open back.
Yeah. Was that at Tiger Point?
No, it was at the country club. Tiger Point wasn't even built yet.
No, but they used to play one of the low-level tour events. Now, I remember I know about the Pensacola Open, but they used to play like one of the... It would be like opposite a major or something at Tiger Point years ago, and I can't remember which one it was.
Now, the cool thing about the Pensacola Open was that's the first PGA tournament that a African-American won, and that was Calvin Peete.
How about that?
But we also used to have the Blue Angel Classic, which was a senior PGA Tour thing.
Yeah.
And that was actually in Milton. Then they moved it to Destin for 1 year.
Yeah.
And called it the Blue. They called it something else.
There's actually talks that Sandestin area is actually trying to put up and get Walton County to put up the money to bring a PGA Tour event back to Destin on a 5-year deal there. So.
Well, the only problem with Sandestin is it's on Highway 98, and that's the only way in or out. So it's a parking lot, trying to get there and trying to get out.
Yes, it is. At least they've finished most of the construction right around there.
The other thing is, I worked it one year. Well, the year was at Sandestin, and one of our little perks was on Monday we got a free round of golf. And the tournament, the course is still set up for the pros. And I can honestly say I shot an 82. I just wondered what I'd have shot if I wouldn't have had my balls on the 14th tee.
Yeah, that's the oldest joke in golf.
When you went off the rough, you were in lettuce.
Yeah, that's the oldest joke in golf. So I shot an 80. I was like, what about the back nine? You know.
You've been watching me play golf? You got some drone footage of me or something?
I got to ask you this. We were talking about, coaching earlier, and obviously, we're from near the same area, Mobile, Pensacola, like this. This one surprised me, but I'm actually glad because I do like the guy and I like a redemption story. Former Blount High School star and Alabama football star, and to be fair, Dallas Cowboys star, Sherman Williams has been approved as the new head football coach at my old school, Murphy High School in Mobile. Now, Sherman Williams, despite being a fantastic football player, has also run afoul of the law. He had some issues with drugs and actually served a fair amount of time in, I can't remember if it was federal prison or not, but it was federal. And look, I could make a joke that I can't believe a Blount guy is coaching Murphy. It'd be a lot worse if it was Viger High School, but I actually like Sherman Williams a lot, and I do think this is a good move, but I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that the school board kind of allowed that. What are your thoughts on that and the possibility of having kind of a nice redemption story for a guy who really seems like he's changed his life?
Well, the first thing I remember, when he got arrested, he ran from the FBI, and one of the agents ran him down.
Good gracious.
Why isn't an NFL team signing the FBI agent?
I was going to say.
But, hey, coaches run afoul of things all the time, like Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
If you pay your penance, somebody should give him a shot.
Yeah.
So let him have his shot. Now, I'll bet you the school board's going to keep a close eye on him.
Oh gosh, yes. But here's what I like about this, and I have in my lifetime, I have very rarely complimented Barton Academy and the Mobile County School District. I've had a lot of issues, a lot of things that they've done for a long time. I actually like the chance here. You're right. They're going to be on him, and they should be. And I get it from their perspective. You've got to be very wary because you are dealing with people's children. But the opportunity of this story to be told to young people, I think, is great. And that someone who had everything, threw it all away, has come back and redeemed his life and is offering something to the next generation. I actually applaud them for taking a chance on this story succeeding and showing it to people.
Well, first off, that's a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, isn't it?
Something else about Charlie Ward over here. When he was at Washington, there was a coach at Escambia who really messed up on he had 3 ineligible players, and he was told that day they can't play. He played them anyway. He said, "What you going to do?" And the 3 kids got suspended for the entire season. One of those kids had already verbally committed to, I believe it was Louisiana Tech. And he lost that scholarship.
Wow.
Because he wasn't going to play a senior year. Well, he got one somewhere else. But, I mean, that guy could have been sued for losing that kid's scholarship because he had already verbally committed. But that guy, he went, I think he went to Quincy, someplace over there. Apparently, Charlie Ward's the one who set him up to get the job.
Wow, that's cool.
And this is another cool Charlie Ward fact. Florida State's had 3 Heisman Trophy winners. All 3 were quarterbacks.
That's right.
All 3 were not from the state of Florida.
Right.
All 3's last name started with W, and all 3 were 2-sport athletes.
How about that?
Things happen in 3s, I told you, man.
Sherman Williams served almost 15 years in prison on 3 counts of conspiracy to distribute marijuana and a separate plea for passing counterfeit currency. He was released.
He was playing the wrong Monopoly game. Is this Sherman Williams? We're talking about like the
Sherman.
Oh, Sherman. I was
Williams.
like, what? The paint guy.
They used to call him the painter, but he was released March 1st, 2014, and actually former teammate David Palmer, the Deuce, sought him out, and they created a way to influence disadvantaged youth in a positive manner. They created the Palmer-Williams Group for that specific purpose, and Williams has continually been giving back to his community since then. And then they have...
Say where he served his time?
What's that?
Does it say where he served his time?
I'm looking for that. I don't see it in this story. I'll have to look that up. But I think you're right. I think it was federal because of the counterfeit charge.
When I moved over to this house, I had lived over on the west side. I was probably 3 miles from Softly Field, where the federal prison is. Where what's that guy? The reality guy, Crisley knows best. That's where he's serving his time.
Yeah.
Because I kept telling people in our neighborhood, it's like, our property values have to be going up. We got a millionaire next to us.
I love it. No better way to end than that. Steve, as always, enjoyed talking with you here, and we'll look forward to talking with you Monday afternoon, friend.
Sounds good. Love you. I like fried chicken.
And that's Steve Barnes.
Love you like coleslaw goes with fried chicken and little baked beans, macaroni cheese. Nah.
That is Steve Barnes from the rebelwalk.com. Always got great insights and great stories to tell. Love having Steve on. You can catch Steve every Monday afternoon with us here on the Afternoon Underdogs. Well, folks, it is about that time. So... David, we want to do this now. We're going to do this coming out of the break.
Once we get back from the break.
All right, so make sure you keep listening here, because when we come back from this set of commercials here, we are going to announce our name for today's chance to win the race to Talladega and 2 passes to the Jack Links 500 here. So make sure you keep that dial right here at ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
I was a bench warmer. No, but you can.
He was left out.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, I was. And,
yes.
No, actually, it happens. You are crazy, but
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we're here to help you celebrate the graduate in your life with a personalized gift that expresses who she is to that special touch that symbolizes her style. Tracy's Fine Jewelry has a perfect gift that's as unique as your graduate, including monogram milestones that will personalize her style with a special touch that she will cherish for a lifetime. Let's celebrate the class of 2025 with a gift from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, putting a sparkle on Bay County for over 50 years.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Hey guys, Mother's Day is coming up on May 11th, but Beach House Florist lets you hit the easy button now for major wow factor. Mom will light up when she sees a thoughtful and unique gift from Beach House Florist, like lovely floral arrangements and gift baskets curated with gourmet delights. Beach House Florist in Panama City Beach, minutes from 38. Show Mom some love with Beach House Florist. Order at beachhouseflorist.com or call now, 850-249-5042. That's 850-249-5042.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. From the beach to the bay to the backyard, it's the Inside Drive.
I've got sand in my underpants.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the sound of those engines revving means it is time for you to win your chance to go to Talladega and passes to the Jack Links 500. So again, we gave the phrase that pays out this morning on the Coach James Hale Show, and today our person who has a chance to win these tickets is going to be Ryan Forrest. Ryan Forrest, you are now on the clock. Give us a call here in the studio for your chance to win. And we have one more day, folks, here for the race to Talladega at ESPN Northwest Florida. To enter the race, you need to listen to Coach James Hale Show in the mornings at 7:15 and 8:15 a.m. for the code word of the day. When you hear it, text that code word and your racing name to the studio here at 850-215-6290. Then listen right here at 1240 with the Inside Drive and David at 540 with the Afternoon Underdogs for your chance to win. If they announce your name, race to the phones and call us here again at 215-6290. However long it takes you to call back is your qualifying time. The two fastest qualifying times will win the race to Talladega and 2 tickets to the Jack Links 500 on April 27th. Plus, you're also going to win tickets to the ARCA Menard Series General Tire 200 and NASCAR Xfinity Series Ag Pro 300 doubleheader on Saturday. This contest runs through April 18th, which is tomorrow. All qualifiers instantly win Cool Station Stash from Pepsi, Tommy's Express, and ESPN Northwest Florida. The race to Talladega is sponsored by PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Buffalo Rock, Hampton Inn on Thomas, and Home 2 Suites. All right. Let's get to some local news here while we're waiting on the phones.
I like a little bit of local every now and again. Let's go.
There's a lot going on here like that. And we did have 5 students from Mosley actually signed letters of intent to compete in college next year. So I wanted to call those out. Ceremony was held yesterday, I believe, at the Nelson Fine Arts Center there at Mosley. Let's see here. Jesse Langston signed a soccer scholarship with Truett McConnell in North Georgia. That's an NAIA school, so congratulations to Jesse. Caitlin Jowitz, again, I apologize for any mispronunciation. This will make Steve happy there, Dave. Signed a cheerleading scholarship with Troy. She is the first student at Mosley to sign a cheerleading scholarship. That's really cool.
That is awesome stuff.
Thank you,
there.
Rick. Very good. Hannah Otley comes next. She is signing a scholarship with Coach Scott Allen and the Gulf Coast Commodores volleyball program. Let's go, Doors! Love that. Chase Wood is signing a baseball scholarship with Enterprise. And then last...
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on.
Just kidding.
Oh, Coach Lee's going to beat you up for that one. And then, and I'm going to try here. I apologize if I get this one wrong. Jomelianis Sapero Vasayo.
Say... one more again.
Jomelianis, that's the one I think I've got wrong. Sapero Vasayo, I think I've got right.
That's impressive, brother.
Well,
that's a lot
I'm
of
not following my own rules. You know, when you don't know, you say it extremely fast. And
Yeah.
it sounds right. But, exactly. Signed a track and field scholarship with the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. So congratulations to those 5 Mosley athletes for signing on at the next level. We did have some baseball scores yesterday in district play. South Walton blanks West Florida, wins their 3rd consecutive district championship there in 3A. You had Mosley getting past Childs 8-7. It was Niceville blanking Milton 15-0. And then Bozeman gets past Pensacola Catholic 7-6 yesterday afternoon. In softball, you had Freeport 19, Central 3. Walton best Choctaw 4-1, and Bay gets by Rutherford 9-6. I think, is the Bay Rutherford baseball game tonight? I think that's the district championship there. I believe so. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, let me check on that one. Check on Max Preps real quick.
I believe that one. Yeah, well, Max Preps gets everything right, as we all know.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, brother. But you're asking a question that I can't just answer like that. Bay Rutherford tonight at 6 p.m.
There
yes,
we
sir,
go.
At
all right.
Rutherford.
That's, and I said it.
And they got that right, didn't they?
Yeah, and
okay.
that's the way.
I apologize. No,
I don't
formal
think so.
apology.
No.
Okay.
I can't
make up.
We never say we're sorry, Dave. Never say we're sorry. I'm going to leave it at that. But no, that's the way it should be. Bay versus Rutherford for a big title. That's the way it should be. We did have some coaching changes actually go on yesterday. Bobby Hughes actually announced his retirement there, I saw, from North Bay Haven. He's going to stay at North Bay Haven, still work in PE department, but Bobby's had a long career coaching baseball. In fact, this year he crossed the 400 win threshold, which we actually had 2 coaches in this area cross that this year, which is such a milestone. So between him and Coach Patton up there at Bozeman, but Bobby Hughes announced his retirement there at North Bay Haven, 406 wins.
Do you have something else on your local list?
I have 2 more real quick.
Do any of them have to do with Bozeman, and it's not baseball?
Football.
It's not
I do.
All right, good.
I do. I saw that.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I don't really know enough about this one yet, but...
That's fair, but what do we really...
All right, so
we talk a lot, and do we really know what we're talking about? No, but we
fair
pretend
enough.
to.
Yeah, fair enough. Right? Way to pull back the veil. No, Bronson...
Hey, what's that thing that they call it in wrestling? Kayfabe or whatever?
Kayfabe, yeah. Thanks, Leia. You blew my spot.
Yeah, no, we don't do that around here.
Bronson Sweat has resigned as the head football coach at Bozeman after 1 year in charge. Of course, Coach Griffin, left to come down to Arnold this year, and Coach Sweat had 5-5 year. Obviously, they had a lot of turnover.
Peyton
with the
Gay
players.
goes to Texas A&M
That's right.
as a walk-on. Hayden Gay is the quarterback in waiting. They had a great season.
They jumped
the year
up
prior.
2 classes.
Yeah, it's Alabama in a sense, right? Like Nick Saban leaves, Coach Griffin, and then now Bronson Sweat comes in, Kalen DeBoer, and you don't have the season that maybe you haven't had in the last 2 years or whatever, but still 5-5 is respectable.
No, I think so, and I think Coach Sweat did a very good job.
Right.
And I think they were happy with him. From what I've read, it looks like, I don't think they can announce it yet, it looks like he's taken a position in another state.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like.
If you go to Georgia from Florida, you make money. You don't make money here as a head coach. I'm surprised that we have some of the coaches that we have here. And Josh Latch, I know that you may not have a county athletic director. You may not have any say-so in that. But the thing is y'all want to, you're wondering why we're not back in the glory days of the 90s. Well, when you can go 20 miles north and make 5 figures more than what you're making, 4 figures more, whatever it may be, you can make 6 figures as a coach in Georgia. You can't do that here. And then on top of that, you're making this lousy salary. You're going to be washing clothes. You got to teach a class. It's ridiculous, and we say we love sports here in Florida, and I'm still perplexed at how we pump these athletes out.
This is why I've said it on every show I've been on.
Say it again,
Stop building the wall at Mexico and build the wall between Alabama, Georgia, and Florida.
We need the walls of Jericho
We need it for
here.
2 reasons. We're losing all of our football coaches, and all we're getting are people who come down here for spring break and shoot up the wheel at Pier Park. It's enough. We need the wall. Build the wall.
Is that a detail?
That's Dothan.
No. I'm asking you, did people shoot at the wheel in Pier Park?
Shooting each other.
Okay.
They might have hit the wheel.
Like that, I would be like, all right, well, definition of insanity is, doing something multiple times and expecting different results, but...
So here you go. Build the wall. It'll also stop all those fools from Georgia who can't read a no U-turn sign. Who
this
just
is
drive
Brian Trumpet speaking.
I got no problem taking on Georgia drivers. I will die on that hill.
Panama City drivers are garbage. They go 35. I'd rather have someone going 75 in the 45 than daggum 35.
I live on Panama City Beach. They still go 70 in that 35-mile-an-hour construction zone.
Brother, I'll tell you this. Whenever I'm on that commute, which is, every now and again, like a couple days out the week, when I'm on that commute, they go the speed limit. I'm like, dang,
where you are.
Boys, I'm trying to get me a
18-wheelers going 60
the 18-wheelers, they do their thing because they know, they're like, hey, the rules of the road kind of supersede the rules of your mind. We got to go.
By the way, so now that we're on this, DOT, listen up.
Yeah.
Whoever you had designed like the little temporary road
And then you get
changes
to Al
and all.
Coleman?
Had gotten into the Mad Dog.
Dog,
I'm sorry.
MD 2020.
In 2020 was not their vision. This thing is a mess. So
for real though, when you pull up to Alf Coleman and you're headed, I would say that's eastbound, right? Yeah, you're headed eastbound on Back Beach, and you get there to Alf Coleman. When you skip across Alf Coleman, like you've got to merge. You've got to merge to a new lane.
You have to have hand trimmers to successfully drive those lanes correctly. I mean, you really have to.
We're not complaining. We're just observing.
No, I'm
okay?
complaining.
Okay,
I'll tell you right now.
The old man is complaining.
I do have one more.
Observing. All right.
I do have one more for our friends up in Bonifay. Holmes County has promoted Ty Russ to their head football coach position. Replaces Coach Womble, who had actually just finished his second stint at Holmes County and did a wonderful job up there. He's actually left. He's going to take a coordinator position at Walton High School. So congratulations,
Just a position,
Ty
not
Russ.
head coach.
That's correct, but I think you see that a lot of times later in life with the coaches. They actually want to step out of the head role.
Kind of reminds me of, I was going to say Dan Campbell, but I don't think that's his name.
No, well, Gus Malzahn is a
No, I'm not talking professional or collegiate. I'm talking Arnold. Wasn't his last name Campbell?
Coach Campbell, yeah. I'm blanking on his first name too.
Yeah.
But no, Coach Campbell was a great guy.
And he came over to be defensive coordinator.
That's right.
Health
He got thrust
complications
into
came
the-
up. Got
That's
thrust
right.
in, exactly. And that's a tough deal, especially when you're like trying to take a load off, and then
That's
now
right.
all of a sudden here's 2 extra burdens, brother.
Oh, my goodness. And I thought he did a wonderful job with the kid. Obviously, they didn't have the success that they wanted, but I thought he was a good mentor and role model for those kids there. And I've always liked our interactions with Coach Campbell. But congratulations to Coach Ty Russ there, who will now be the head coach there at Holmes County. And, I'm already looking forward to this year's high school football season. Obviously, we had so much.
Me too. That's when the money
moving
comes.
forward. There you go. You can listen to Dave, call the games. But we had Mosley made a great run and had the big win over Niceville. Arnold, historic season.
Yeah.
Bozeman, still solid. Rutherford's improvement every week was off the chart. Bay had some great games this year and played got into the playoffs themselves. And then, the outstretch there where we're talking about the Holmes Counties and the Port St. Joe's and the Weewas and all the other teams that we follow. Now with Coach Siegel going back to North Bay Haven, it's going to be a heck of a football season there, and very much looking forward to it as we go forward there. So that's what I have there. Dave, was there anything you were wanting to get to there, or were you just going to come in with a Bronson Sweat news? Because
that's exactly right there. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it because you're plugged in, kind of as I am. But you have. I love hearing your opinions because it makes me think from a different perspective, and I think that we could all employ that idea, right? Like hear things from someone else and think about them from another route, and not just the way that you think about them and think that that's just 100 because it's your brain. Like you live with yourself all day. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's awful unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely right. Well, again, absolutely have enjoyed sitting in for Ryan today. Want to thank you, David, for helping out here as well. Ryan will be back. And don't forget, keep your dial right here. Listen to the Afternoon Underdogs this afternoon. Another chance to win. Your chance to take the race to Talladega. Ryan will be back tomorrow afternoon. Bye-bye.
Titans still stink. Shout out to Paul for sitting in with us today.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing.